Why, hello. That was a little cool intro. It's a little departure from our usual stuff.
Yeah,
Welcome
yeah,
to
yeah.
Riffin with 90's Guys. My name is Tony, and to my virtual left would be Peter.
Yes, your virtual left. Yes, that's usually what you call me.
All right. That's exactly true. And to my physical left is our guest today. It's going to be my cousin, actually. His name is Edgar. He's also a 90's guy.
Yeah, how's it going,
Edgar,
everyone?
All right.
aka Edgar Kenway on there on Zombies to Aliens. Yes,
Yes, exactly. He's been gone for a while, but his 90's integrity is still very strong. So gotta
right.
pull him back
Well,
in.
he's been sailing the seven seas, assassinating people. You know how
Yeah,
it
it took
goes.
me a while to get back, but now I'm back with guns, so that should be better.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah.
Excellent guns and everything. So this week we're gonna try and really bring it back down to the OG time period of television, the classic
Oh
show.
God. Yes.
And this show, everybody resonates with. I think we all grew up with it. It's a classic, and it's still on air, believe it or not. It's The Simpsons, of course.
Ah, yes, yes. If you couldn't tell from that 8-bit intro, yes, we will be talking about The Simpsons. And we already put a episode list on the website of the 9 quintessential 90s episodes that we are going to talk about.
Yeah. Now, at least for us 90's fans, we kind of were attached to a certain classic Simpsons style. Not to say that the current Simpsons aren't any good. They have their moments, of course, but we want to specifically discuss what made them so good to begin with. And that is
Right.
shows from the early seasons. We're talking season 4, season 5, even season 3. These are some of the best shows and TV episodes of The Simpsons ever, I think.
Yes, yes. And not only that, but The Simpsons had a heart back then. Not that they don't have heart now.
Right.
Now it's more like silly, kind of goofy comedy in The Simpsons and the less serious storylines. Back in the day, Simpsons actually have heart. I can equate this to you guys if you're big Futurama fans. And
Yes.
like moments like when Fry's dog Seymour is slowly passing away, waiting for him.
Oh.
Moments like that were a freaking dime a dozen in The Simpsons. There are a lot of touching moments in The Simpsons that actually were pretty heartfelt.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. And I'm not sure exactly why it's changed. Maybe it's because we're living in an age of where, you know, Judd Apatow films are the number one grousing comedies, with their silly kind of
Right.
slapstick humor. Maybe that's kind of a reason why the Simpsons have shifted, is because the whole cultural institution of what is funny has shifted. But in the 90's, it felt like it was more fresh and more original, the stories with heart.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think they're trying to play catch up with like Family Guy and stuff like that.
They don't want to get left behind.
No. Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we start with our list?
All right, I got some clips here, and it's very hard to find a Simpsons clip since Fox has such a crackdown on them. But I have a clip here to introduce the first episode that we're going to talk about.
Hit it.
And this is a clip that kind of shows how back in the 90s how Bart and Lisa were actually kids first. Now that like in the newer episodes they're more like goofy and played up, but back in the day Bart and Lisa were kids first and then they did the jokes second. So this is a nice little clip to show how like Bart was mainly a kid first and then the menace to society second. Brought to you by Hulu, of course.
Okay, Mom? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how smooth it is
Yeah,
here,
so
but
this is we were testing this out. This is not working. But
but
basically,
basically, if you could,
there's
yeah, you get the idea. What was the discussion? What's going on here? Can you elaborate?
this is Bart being just a plain old kid. So he asks Marge, "Hey, I actually just played the audio for you. So let me just take it off screen share for a second." But he
All
asks
right.
Marge, "Hey, can I help you, Mom, with Thanksgiving?" And then just like a kid, Marge gives him a cranberry sauce can to open, and just like a kid, he isn't really capable of doing it. And then Marge just ends up doing it anyways, and then Bart thinks it's he did it, it's his achievement, and then he just walks away rather than putting it back in the fridge. Let me see if I can just play the audio from it.
Can you do the cranberry sauce? Yeah. Where is it? The can is in the cupboard on the bottom shelf. Here? No.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, all right, so the clips aren't gonna work, but anyways.
But
So, yeah.
that's the gist of it, though. Essentially,
Yeah,
he's a child. I mean, he's still a kid. You know, it's not like he's this miniature adult. He actually is a kid.
yeah,
Which is
yeah, and then
contrast.
in the newer episodes, he's more of, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, more of an adult, more of a menace to society, and they were really humble back in the day. I think is the thing.
I agree. 100.
Yeah, so the episode we're talking about is Bart versus Thanksgiving. Is a classic episode.
Oh, we're gonna. Okay, good. I was wondering what happened to the second one, or number one on the list, which is Bart the Daredevil.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. I think I've had my clips out of order then.
Oh, that's.
Oh, yeah, so let's talk about Thanksgiving first, then we go to Daredevil. So, yeah, Bart versus Thanksgiving. What were your thoughts about it, Mr. Tony, sir?
I think it's a classic episode. It's one of, I think, episodes that I remember most from when I was a child. I don't know why it was. Maybe they played it a lot, or maybe it's just because it's a special holiday episode that it resonated with me. But definitely a classic. What about
Right.
you?
Yeah, like, to me, since there's not that many, like, Thanksgiving, like, movies or anything like that, but sitting down to watching, like, a Thanksgiving episode of The Simpsons, I just remember doing that, and it was just freaking awesome. And I think that year that episode aired, Bart Simpson actually had a float in the Macy's Days Parade, and they reference it in the show, in the episode.
That's awesome.
Homer says to Bart, if you have every character up there, you'll turn the parade into a farce. And then the next thing, they're not looking at the screen, but on the TV screen is Bart's float.
Yes.
So that was pretty funny. And I just like how Bart and Lisa kind of connect at the end, and Bart finally says he's sorry about ruining Thanksgiving and stuff like that.
There's that moment of heart you were talking about.
Yeah.
After they eat the leftovers.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
That's actually that probably breaks down the whole dynamic of The Simpsons. Like, some shit can happen to them, but at the end of the day, they're still family.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's one of the, like, heartfelt moments at the end where they're sharing the leftovers.
I think that's a contrast to, like, the other television animated families that we have, where they're all families, of course, but it just seems like The Simpsons have a more genuine relationship where they're able to deal with their differences at the end of the day. And I know that sounds corny and cliched, but really it was something original and fresh at the time, and it's still to this day, I mean, resonates obviously with us.
And then I have a fun fact. It was kind of miscued. Like, The Simpsons, when they first came out, they were seen as a dysfunctional family, kind of like Family Guy, and people would kind of rag on that. One famous person actually was oh God, I do not remember her name, but George Bush Sr.'s wife. Is it Margaret Bush or
I believe was it Martha? I don't know.
Martha Bush? She's made a public statement as to keep U.S. families not as dysfunctional as the Simpsons. She made that public announcement or statement in a speech. And then Marge Simpson actually wrote to Martha Bush a very lovely letter saying, hey, my family may not be perfect, but we're still a family.
Yes.
And that actually came from the pen of Marge Simpson.
That's pretty impressive. I did not know about that tidbit. And that's actually Barbara Bush, sorry.
Barbara, so Martha. Martha, but we're creating Bushes. So that's a fun fact.
That's really interesting.
But you want to get started talking about the next episode?
Yeah, let's do that. The Bart the Daredevil.
Yes.
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't remember this one. I wasn't able to catch up on this one. Can you give me a brief synopsis?
Okay, so a super brief synopsis is Bart goes to see Bart and Homer go to see Truckosaurus at the arena, and then during the Truckosaurus show, there's a little daredevil called Lance Murdoch, which is pretty much just a daredevil dude, and he jumps a swimming pool full of sharks, an eel, and a lion.
Daredevil?
What's that?
Isn't Murdoch the actual last name of Daredevil? Maybe. Yeah, actually it is. I think it is.
Matt Murdock.
Wow, good connection.
So this is Lance Murdoch, possibly a descendant or ancestor of Matt Murdock. Yeah, maybe.
He didn't have as high aspirations as his brother, but nevertheless.
No. That's funny. The Simpsons and Marvel combined. But,
yeah.
So Bart watches him jump this swimming pool of sharks and other dangerous animals and is amazed. So he decides to skateboard and do skateboard stunts just like that. And one of his first ones is he tries to jump over the family car on his skateboard, but then he winds up crashing and having to get stitches on his forehead.
The worst thing that could happen to a 10-year-old child is the fear of stitches.
Yeah, but Bart's pretty cool with it. He likes that he has stitches, and then he goes back at it again, and he actually is successful. And then he's successful again, jumping over dogs and all their sorts of stunts. And then at a certain point, he gets bored of what he's doing because he's entertaining the crowd at all, but it's not exhilarating to him anymore. And then they have a class field trip to the Springfield Gorge. And then he gets the idea of jumping it. And then he tells Otto, I'm going to jump the gorge in my skateboard. And Otto goes, Bart, as the only responsible adult here, I think I should tell you something. And then Bart goes, what? And then Otto goes, cool.
Otto, you are the most cool adult that you could wish for in a school bus drive if you were a kid.
I like Otto, especially Otto back in the day.
Yeah, Otto was amazing. He was just this almost heavy metal kind of loose cannon who apparently was in charge of children, and I don't know who allowed him to be in such a position. But never
school bus driver. I don't know.
All right, so I remember that episode actually. That was a popular one.
Yes, that's one of the main. If you think Simpsons, you think of that episode, and Homer, of course, goes to try and start Bart with hilarious consequences.
Falling twice in the gorge.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, so that's one of the that's pretty much states Simpsons, and it was something kind of groundbreaking at the time because we never saw at least to my knowledge, I never saw a cartoon where like one of the main characters gets physically like really injured really badly too, just for comedy's sake.
Yeah, I guess they discovered that you can do a lot more with cartoons than you can with real people.
Right. And then before like Homer actually accidentally jumps the gorge, he gives a nice little speech to Bart about seeing a family member do something stupid, and then Bart actually says, "No, don't stop, Dad," and then they say, "I love you." And it was actually really touching, and then that dueled with the funny aftermath of Homer going down and jumping the gorge.
I love the drawings. I just did a quick Google image search for Bart the Daredevil, and there's like a clip of Homer like about to eat crap on the side of a cliff. It just looks so funny. The artwork is so brilliant, especially for the time. It was so raunchy too. If you think about like how violent it was and how new that on-air violence was for that generation.
You know what's funny? One of the main like lessons of that episode was like not to copy what you watch on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like I know that skateboarding was a big thing in the 90s, but I feel like a lot of kids wanted to skateboard to be like Bart Simpson.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very impressionable. Without the internets that exist today.
Did you guys ever skate at all?
No, I have horrible balance.
I tried for a couple of years, but then I hit the ground so hard that I didn't actually want to get into a skateboard anymore. So nah.
So you had a Springfield Gorge moment.
Yeah, kind of. It hurt so bad.
Oh man.
Springfield Gorge moment. You know, I didn't skateboard, but you know what I can relate to physically in relation to The Simpsons is, although I never broke my leg, I did break my arm when I was about a little older than Bart's age, and that really was a bummer. And that's, I think, a good segue into episode number 3, Bart of Darkness.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is another classic. If you haven't noticed already, we paired a trilogy of episodes together. We got the Bart trilogy, we got like the Homer/Marge trilogy, and then we got the Mr. Burns trilogy. So to cap off this trilogy of Bartness is a later episode, I think, maybe season 3?
5, I believe.
Season 5, so thank you, sir. Season 5 episode called Bart of Darkness, which is actually based on it's based on a movie. I can't remember the name of.
I remember the movie, but I don't remember the name.
Do you remember the actor's name? I forget.
No, at all.
No.
Okay. Well, we're doing pretty badly here, but you know. So, basically, in the movie, in the real movie, the guy breaks his leg, and then he sees a murder happen. And he's stuck. He's confined to his room, so he has to kind of make people know that the fucking murder's going on, and no one really believes him. So same thing happens to Bart. He breaks his leg at their new swimming pool, and then he sees Flanders murder Maude, which of course Maude doesn't. This is not the way Maude dies, because we find that out in later episodes.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just picked. I think this is a good Bart episode, just because it kind of showcases personality more than just like his sort of
mischievous side.
Yeah, his mischievous side. He actually is kind of a whole person, because like as he's stuck there in his room, he actually starts writing a play that Lisa picks up and reads and laughs at him for.
I know. Yeah, Lisa was kind of, up to that point, at least if I can recall correctly, she was always the goody two-shoes, like really smart, doing everything proper. But in this episode, she was kind of a bitch.
She gets newfound popularity just because of their swimming pool.
And she totally abandons her brother. And
Yes.
And, at the end of the episode, you see the same thing kind of happens to her when everybody leaves to get on the other kid's pool, and you see her, like, at the bottom of this pool, and I just think it was good justice that happened at that moment.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it was. I like the dynamic of Lisa and Bart. How I feel more in like the '90s episodes and '90s back in the day that they were a little closer than they are now. Now they're just kind of more of sibling rivals and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, one thing I really really liked about this episode. Matter of fact, just a quick side note. I remember this episode so well. Then when I rewatched it recently, I still remembered quotes from it from when I was like
Oh,
10
good.
years old.
Yes.
It was crazy. Like I remember calling out all a bunch of times. The universe is so boring. you know, like I remember saying that line so many times, and when I saw this episode,
Nice.
I'm like, that's where it came from.
Hey Tony, your epidermis is showing.
Yes, like so many classic lines. It was amazing. And then, so going back to my point, and rewatching some of these episodes, I've come to see a different side of The Simpsons that I did when I was younger because I didn't understand most of the jokes.
Yes,
So-
yes.
One thing I saw and noticed was that strange neighbor who also had his leg broken, who was had a pair of well, not a pair, but he also had a telescope, and he was like observing the neighborhood just like Bart was, and in particular he was kind of stalking Bart to the point where at the end of the episode where when Bart tries to go save
Lisa.
I don't Lisa, when he goes to try and save Lisa and he's walking over there, like barely able to walk over there, the neighbor says, "Oh, that mischievous, sinister looking kid. He's out to get me."
Yeah. That's actually that was the like main reference of the movie and the actor too, that guy.
Yeah, and by the way, the name of that movie, thanks to Google, is Rear Window.
Ah, there we go. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and also correction, it's season 6, not season 5. I'm sorry,
okay.
that's just one mistake after the other.
I was just trying to go off of memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Yeah, that there are some jokes I think on The Simpsons that you laugh more at rewatching them as an adult.
Yes. So, the other episode that I think you can take the reins on is Homer versus Lisa in the Eighth Commandment.
Okay, this is okay. So I picked a lot of like the ones that stand out in my mind from like Homer Simpson oriented episodes.
Yeah.
The ones where you have sort of a crisis of faith, and this is like one of the first ones I can think of that Homer has a crisis, like has a moral crisis, because in the episode they steal free cable. Well, to Homer, it's not really stealing, because he gets this pamphlet from the cable guy that does it that says, hey, it's not stealing, that, hey, all the movies that are rerun on cable are bad movies anyways and stuff like that, so it's all
Tries
right.
to justify it.
Yeah, so Homer believes it for the whole majority of the episode, but then he finally has a point where he says, yeah, stealing's bad, and especially if Lisa doesn't like respect me anymore, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's a very we see a mature fatherly side of Homer
Yes.
in that episode.
That is another thing. Like, I feel that in earlier episodes you see Homer more as a father than as a buffoon in like later
Yes.
episodes.
He really does care for his family. You can see that in these episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then of course Bart loves the cable, and he even has like a group of friends over to watch some pornographic movies there.
I remember that.
So Bart is like the exact opposite of Lisa and has no moral compass, really.
He's just trying to use it as much as he can.
Yeah.
Well, he's a 10-year-old boy. I think maybe
Yeah.
it's a more realistic depiction of.
Oh, and actually, fun Simpson factoid. This episode was the first episode with the Simpson character of Drederick Tatum. Of course, he's modeled after Mike Tyson.
Oh, okay. Yes. I remember him very much.
Yeah, because they watch a pay-per-view fight at the end where actually the whole town comes to visit the Simpsons house because apparently the whole town doesn't have cable. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
even
apparently.
even Mr. Burns is there.
What the heck, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Mr. Burns is, that's how he got his millions, you know? He's just a cheapskate.
Yes.
Like going around other people's houses watching their TV.
He doesn't really own a TV.
Yeah, he just barely has a radio.
Yeah. He said he enjoyed the sight and sounds of other men while watching fights.
Whoa, that sounds more like a Smithers quote.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
so this is a good one just because it shows Homer sort of dealing with things morally and actually doing the good thing at the end.
Yeah, I quite remember that episode, especially the fiery scene. That's cool.
Yeah, and then of course Lisa now is Buddhist, but she's always been like super spiritual and super religious. And in this one, she's just learned in Sunday school about the commandments, and especially the 8th commandment, which is "Thou shalt not steal." So she thinks her family's going to hell just because Homer got free cable.
You know, I think that's a really good argument against Sunday school. Poor Lisa is like smitten with fear and brainwashed to the point where she's like, "Oh my god!" Just because. I mean, stealing's bad, all right, guys. I'm not saying it's cool. I'm not condoning it, but Jesus, can we like stop the brainwashing?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to watch this episode, knowing that Lisa becomes a Buddhist eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just kind of interesting.
That is really interesting. Maybe if she hadn't been in Sunday school, she would still be yes,
Christian or something. Yeah,
Catholic, whatever it is.
Something. She would still go to church.
Yeah,
she'll go to church. Yes.
She'd be up there with Father, whatever his name is. All right. Moving on. In the same vein of Homer episode is The Way We Was.
Yes, this is actually a Homer and Marge episode, and this is the story of them meeting for the first time in high school. And this story has been replaced recently in newer episodes. They show Homer and Marge as more of a 90's couple, which doesn't make sense because they're more of an 80's couple that met in the 80's.
Yeah.
So this is their true origin story of them meeting together, and you really get to see how their sort of love starts. And it's actually an episode where kind of like when the Family Guy did their Star Wars parodies, the TV goes out or is broken, and then Homer and Marge tell them the story of how they met to sort of fill the time.
Yes, I bet that's a TV Troops. I don't know the name of it.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, definitely. That's a classic
TV plotline.
Oh yeah. Something goes wrong, and they just have to go away from the normal storytelling to do this kind of external or internal storytelling.
Right. And then for this one, this is their story, and then the song Close to You, which is the song that goes when birds suddenly appear. This is where the first time you hear that song for Homer and Marge.
Oh, that's awesome. You know all your little Simpsons tidbits, huh?
I do. I swear, guys, we're going to start a Simpsons cast eventually.
Hey, yeah, I mean,
That would be great.
with all the details you have chalked up in there, that's got to use it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fascinated. Can you continue with the synopsis?
Okay, so the way Homer and Marge meet is they meet actually in detention. Homer smoked in the boys' bathroom with Barney, so he gets detention. He usually gets detention. He knows where it's at. But Marge is a rare case because she just finds her new feminism in this episode and starts to protest outside. She even burns her own bra, and that sends her to detention. And then when she walks in, Homer just instantly gets smitten with her. And then he vows to try to get a date with her. So he asks her flat out and like says, "Hey, ask people who know me that say that I'm a good guy, and we can date." And then Homer joins the debate team just to be close to Marge, who's on the debate team. And yeah, so it's all about Homer trying to be with Marge, and you can see how hard he tries, and not like in like a bad way, but just like he just wants to be with that girl.
Yeah, it's a very a Back to the Future sort of plotline where he's trying to get this
exactly.
That he seems destined to be with, but he just can't quite get a hold of her.
Another Simpson factoid for this one is the first time you see Marge's dad, the first and only time you see Marge's dad, Mr. Bouvier, and he looks exactly like Patty and Selma with like a cigarette in his mouth.
I see that, and that kind of begs the question: what the hell? Where did Marge Simpson get her looks from?
Her mom. Her mom looks a lot like Marge, Mrs. Bouvier. She has the tall hair still and it's gray, and she looks just like Marge, but where their dad looks more like Patty and Selma. And it's never said what happens to their father. I just assume he dies because he's a smoker and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good allusion.
There's a funny fact though. Mr. Bouvier is the only one who actually likes Homer right off the bat. Everyone else kind of dislikes. Patty and Selma hate Homer, of course, and have.
And they still hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still hate him. But
I didn't know that about the dad.
Her dad actually thought he was okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a sweet little episode.
Yeah, it is. It's good to see where they came from. And then I think their origin has been rewritten in some of the later episodes, but this is really how it happened.
Well, this is the original way it happened, I guess.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. You know which episode I really, really enjoyed?
What's that?
Homer Alone.
Yes.
That episode, man. If you could get an award for worst father, I think Homer would absolutely take the cake on that one for this episode, at least. I mean, talk about child endangerment. This guy just leaves his daughter at night and doesn't even bother to check on her, and I guess she just walks right out the door. And yeah, I'm going on a tangent here, but I guess I should start at the beginning. You're pretty good at doing that. Do you want to just give us a quick synopsis?
Wait, okay, so I'm confused a little. Yeah, why didn't you do it, Tony?
Okay, Homer Alone is the episode where I guess Marge Simpson just can't take it anymore. She's kind of been stricken with all sorts of requests and demands from her family, and we see this exemplified in the beginning of the episode where she's making sandwiches and she's trying to remember what everybody ordered and how they ordered it, and she's frantically trying to build them, and then she gets pounded basically by the kids and Homer asking her, "Can you make it this way? Can you do this?" And she's asking her, all sorts of crazy questions, and she's kind of at the point of breaking at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
So it kind of moves on. And so basically the point is that she finds this commercial for a retreat getaway, and she wants to go, and she decides to go, which means that for some reason Homer isn't capable of taking care of all three of his children. So Bart and Lisa go to their aunt's house, and that means he's stuck with Maggie. So he takes care of her. But then that's when the hilarity ensues because
yes.
That's when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, so this is a good one again, just to see. Not that Homer is a perfect father, not in all means, but he's at least trying to be adequate. I think that's what we should all amount to. That's like Homer's quote there.
Philosophy.
Yeah, just don't try to be perfect. Just try to be adequate, and you'll be fine.
But the thing is, there's a scene where the next day after Maggie leaves the house, it's panning towards the kitchen floor, and you see this beer bottle, and then you see like, God, what's his name? The town drunk, Barney. Barney's
yeah.
just like laid out on the kitchen floor, drunk, and then you see a pizza box. What the hell is this guy doing? Like getting drunk with his buddies when he has a kid to take care of.
Right.
I don't know. I just thought that was a really, really like Homer-esque moment where he's just completely baffled and careless.
Well, that brings me up to a question that I want to ask you guys. Do you think Homer is a good father? Yes or no? Or maybe?
That's hard because it's really dependent on the episode, I think.
Because in some episodes he's like the best father you can ever have. In some episodes he doesn't even care about his kids. So it really depends on what episode we're talking about.
Right.
I think if you were to force an answer out of me, like overall over the entire 26 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it would, of course, I think lean towards
yes, right.
An adequate father.
Yeah, because he's trying, you know.
Yeah, there are definitely moments where you would really see him try. I mean, this episode though, I just think it was a classic, just father. I'm gonna drop the ball wherever I can kind of episode.
Right.
It's fine. It was good for comedy, but damn, his parental guidance really wasn't there.
Yeah.
It needed to be.
Well, you know, yeah. Well, that's Homer for you, I think.
Yeah.
I have some homework for you guys, some life homework, if you will. Not anytime soon, but eventually when there's a little Tony and a little Edgar running around, I want you guys to go back and rewatch The Simpsons as a father, as a Homer. Then I think then you'll actually appreciate it just a little bit more.
I think you're right. I'll have to take you up on that one when the time comes.
When the time comes, we're gonna let you know.
Yes, knock on wood there, guys.
Yeah. All right. So that kind of is the precursor to our final episodes, which is
our Mr. Burns trilogy.
Oh, actually, you're right. I forgot. I thought we were going straight to Who Shot Mr. Burns, but nope. That's later.
I tossed in one more Mr. Burns episode just because this is something kind of groundbreaking. Well, there's been crossovers before with like the Flintstones meet the Jetsons, but this is the first time I can remember a crossover happening in two cartoon shows. So in this episode where the town puts on a film festival, and Mr. Burns, of course, wants to make a perfect movie about himself. In this episode, the Simpsons meet Jay Sherman, the critic, and it's just like I never thought of anything before that. It just sort of led the way to everything that happened now, like the Simpsons Futurama crossover and the Simpsons Family Guy crossover. I mean, they already crossed over to a show before.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I wasn't aware of the critic when I first saw the episode.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even register with me like that it was a crossover episode.
It is.
But
it is. That was one.
When I recently watched it, though, I understood the context. I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. This happened like way in the 90s.
Yeah.
Episode.
So that's good. So most people would probably be like you and not know who Jay Sherman was. So I'll kind of break that down too. The Critic was a show produced by Matt Groening. So it's kind of like Futurama, just produced by him. And then it was a show about Jay Sherman, who was a movie critic who had a TV show. He lived in New York, and he thought that all the movies coming out were sucky. He said it stinks. But like all the movies that did come out were like super bad, like sequels and stuff like that. and they're
Yeah.
pretty hilarious to watch. Just those like little clips from the critic of those terrible movies, and it was just sort of about his exploits as a film critic. And they decided to, I don't know if it was to boost the audience of the critic or not, but they decided to cross him over into this episode of The Simpsons, which is called A Star Is Burns, by the way.
Yes. I think one of the funniest things about this episode
It's Barney's movie.
is Barney's movie.
Yes.
Which
And that's the one that wins, actually.
That's the one. That's the picker. That's I remember Mr. Burns tried so damn hard and put so much money and effort, and like he had this crazy production stage where he was this Jesus fella, and he totally didn't win still. And
No.
that boils down to Homer's decision, really, because remember, if you recall, he was one of the judges only because Marge decided to make him one because she's an awesome wife, I guess.
All right. I didn't even think about this. This is sort of a Homer episode, too.
Yeah, it is actually, because remember, it all boils down to him to make the decision of which movie to pick. And in the end, of course, she ends up making the right decision and picking the movie that really actually should be the winner. But
Of course.
he does have this internal kind of fight
Yes.
where he really wants to pick what was it? Was it the monkey one or which?
The football in the groin, where
The
basically
football in the groin.
getting hit in the groin. It was Hans Moleman getting hit in the groin by a football.
Yes, I remember. And actually, when I first saw this, I was like, that one should win. As well.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I kind of agreed with Homer. Actually, not a bad choice. But I guess that you can't just pick that for whatever reason. So we had to go with something a little more touching than
Exactly.
football in the groin. All right. So that leads on to I kind of really wanted to discuss it's not a trilogy, but it's a duology,
Sure.
which is
Two-parter.
Two-parter.
Yes.
Who Shot Mr. Burns? Part 1
Right.
and 2. Of all Simpsons episodes, this one probably is the personification of Simpsons when you think of them.
Definitely.
And this is like one of the few, I think one of the only actually Simpsons episode that is a two-parter. It was a season finale, the first part 1, and then it was a season premiere. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It was they're both season finales. They were just split into 2 parts. And,
Oh, really?
Yes, I remember there being a long gap for the second part to come out, and they even held a contest. I was going to say they held a contest online, but actually the internet wasn't even that big of a thing back then.
No, actually, you are correct. Stay true to your guts, because according to Mr. Wikipedia, it was one of the first contests to tie together elements of television and the internet.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it was online, and then I remember you can call in. Basically, you were trying to figure out, you were going to vote in who actually killed or who shot Mr. Burns. Yeah, and
there's so much to talk about in this episode, but I don't know if I should just go straight to. You know what? I'll save it. I'll save that point. Just can you start it? Because there's something I really want
there's a
to.
synopsis. Okay, so the synopsis is, so first off, the Springfield Elementary. I think it was groundskeeper Willie, while trying to bury a pet like hamster, one of the school pets, in his closet. He comes across oil. They strike oil, and it bursts through. So Springfield Elementary has a vote on what they should do with the money they get from pumping the oil.
Yes.
But then Mr. Burns comes in with his own company to steal the oil from under them. So right now, he's pretty mad.
Yeah.
He gets everyone mad at him, and freaking Moe's Tavern has to close down just because they're pumping oil close by. Homer's mad at him personally because he never remembers his name, so he starts to try to get.
But never get his name.
Right. He tries to get Mr. Burns to get to know his name, and by like having a name tag, by sending him chocolates, but it never happens.
Yes.
So Homer gets really mad at him. And then when Mr. Burns at the end plans to block out the sun from Springfield so that they're solely dependent on the nuclear power plant, where Smithers says this is too evil and he takes his leave, and then Smithers becomes mad at Mr. Burns. So everyone's mad at him.
Everybody at this point is setting up for a motive.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, exactly. And then, exactly. And then all of a sudden, out of the town meeting where Mr. Burns shows his sun blocking machine, he walks out, and then he gets shot by a mysterious figure in the night. That is the end of that first part. And then the whole second part is the mystery of who shot him.
So I'm really interested in knowing what the actual time, how many months went by between the first episode and the second.
I'm just going off of memory. I felt like that's why I thought it was a season finale and a season premiere, because I thought it was just like, I felt like it was a long time. I don't think it was like next week or anything.
It was. So the original air date for part 1 is listed as May 21, 1995, whereas part 2 is September 17, 1995. So
yeah, that was a long time to wait.
A couple months. Yeah, especially if you're a kid, and you're waiting for this climax to happen, and
like, who shot him?
Yeah, I remember the promotion around this at least was so huge.
And of course, like when trying to figure it out, and like I know me and my brother, we were going the obvious route where it's like Waylon Smithers, because he was when on the sundial, freaking Mr. Burns points to W&S. Yeah. But I guess it's late enough so we can spoil it. He's actually pointing to M&S, which would be Maggie Simpson. Because he goes to try to literally steal candy from a baby from Maggie, and his gun drops out of his holster onto Maggie's lap, and it goes off, and he gets shot by Maggie.
So let me get this straight. Mr. Burns, who can't even recall his employee's name, actually knows right off the top of his head this random kid baby's name.
Yes, because when in the first parter, when Homer sends a chocolate of a family photo of them, tried to get Mr. Burns to know his name.
Yeah.
They don't eat the chocolate that's on Homer's name. And Mr. Burns just sort of recounts all the old episodes of like each person in the photo. Like, oh, Bart Simpson used to be my heir that one time. And Maggie Simpson had my teddy bear and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Okay, I don't remember that part. Dang.
Yeah. So he knows Maggie, and like all the clues were there of Maggie shooting Mr. Burns, because the gun's found in the Simpsons car.
Yeah.
We know it now as Maggie's eyelash that is found in the car as well, or on Burns's suit. So, and they think it's Homer at first, because Homer is the one who has the motive. So he gets arrested, but it turns out it's Maggie.
Now, I can understand the little creative control and building this anticipation and finally doing the big reveal. That's pretty cool build-up. But then the nerve to actually make
it
pop
Maggie.
And he survives, and everybody was with the understanding that he actually had died. So don't you think that maybe that's a little gimmicky? Maybe.
Well, he gets shot and he's in the hospital, and I think it's clear that, and then he ends up making it in the second part. So I don't know. Yeah, in the first finale, as you think he's kind of dying, but
that's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, I guess it's just I think that's just a TV show thing to keep you tuned, I think.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
To keep you
hooked. then all the clues were there, because if you realize, just thinking back at it, Maggie Simpson's the only Simpson who actually has eyelashes.
Oh yeah.
And then
So
another-
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good
it's
point.
definitely Maggie did it.
Okay, so something that I found right now in scanning through his Wikipedia pages, I want to hear from you. Did you hear about this alternate endings for this? So
Yes,
can
they
you
actually
talk about that?
they actually showcased them on. They had a clip show hosted by Troy McClure of just behind the scenes. It was sort of behind the scenes Simpsons thing, but I was actually just making fun of a behind the scenes type episode.
Yeah.
And one of them, they had the clip show of like the alternate endings, which shows everyone from like Bumblebee Man to actually Smithers shooting Mr. Burns.
Bumblebee Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
If he had a reason to shoot him, God, I know he'd be perfectly justified because he's Bumblebee Man.
Exactly.
I would like to see that.
Just
ending.
let him do it. He's Bumblebee Man, for Pete's sake. That's awesome. Well, I didn't. That's pretty cool. Another good point, or not point, but example of how The Simpsons really plays on its perspective, really, because it kind of makes fun of itself, and that's
Right.
kind of
Yes, it always. I don't think they do that now, but they've always had before. And then another episode of
self-reflection.
this. Yeah, another episode of The Simpsons was they made fun of VH1, or used to have Behind the Music, and they do like a Simpsons episode parodying that called Behind the Laughter. It's
Yeah.
really funny.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen it. It's pretty hilarious.
All right. Did we miss any points that we wanted to get to, or you wanted to get to?
I have a couple of questions for you guys, if you
Awesome.
All right.
don't mind. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to ask you what your favorite Simpson character is. From now, this is like kind of a two-part question. From the first time you saw The Simpsons to like now, if that's the same character or you've changed.
Okay. Give me a moment to pull up all the Simpsons characters.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I know it's supposed to be your favorite, so the first one you can think of, but I'm sure I'm not thinking of one right now. Do you have one off the top of your head, Peter?
Oh, well, mine is, in the past, it used to be Bart Simpson. I used to be a hardcore Bart Simpson fan.
Yeah.
But
me too.
now, rewatching them, I'm more of a Homer fan now.
That's
Just because how awesome he is. I think it's something to do with my age, too, because now I'm like, oh, I kind of appreciate Homer a little more than I do Bart.
I think I would go with Nelson.
Nelson? I was almost going to think you were going to say Otto.
Otto was, well, I think Otto now.
Nice, yeah.
Now Otto would be my favorite character. But back then when, I don't know, I wasn't a bully or anything. I just thought he was funny character, like kind of, did the things that okay, let me backtrack. The reason why I liked him is because he kind of got away with a lot, and that was kind of cool
Right.
for a kid to see.
Right.
You know?
He's sort of, I guess you can call Eric Cartman the Nelson of South Park, because
Yeah, I mean,
he
he's
was
a little
sort of
jerk,
an Eric
and
Cartman.
really, there should be no reason to like him, but I mean, quite the contrary. I think it was so funny. Like,
Yeah.
everything.
And that's why Ha Ha became so popular, is just because everyone liked Nelson.
Matter of fact, one of the episodes, I think it was Bart of Darkness, where when Bart jumps into the pool and then he lands outside the pool and he breaks his leg, and then Nelson looks outside the pool, he looks over and he sees him on the floor, and then he's like, ha ha, and then Milhouse tells Nelson, he's like, Nelson, he might be actually really hurt, and then like, I said ha ha.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So
All
that's
right.
what I would say.
Nice, Nelson, and Otto. What about you, Edgar?
I gotta say, the first time will be Grandpa Simpson. 'Cause
Oh
he's just
yeah,
hilarious. He's just hilarious all the time. And for now, I think I'll go with comic book guy. The guy who owns the comic book store, because he's pretty
Excellent
cool.
choice.
He's pretty cool. He's like kind of rude, but like he knows about his comics, and I actually can appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely rewatching now. I can actually understand his references that he makes.
Yeah, it's a really cool character.
Nice. And then, do you guys have an episode of The Simpsons that we did not talk about that you liked?
I know there was one, but I'm trying to remember which one it was. You guys have any?
I have one. One of my favorite ones is because I used to go to Disneyland with my family and stuff. So one of my favorite Simpsons episode is when they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land.
When everything goes wrong, like horribly wrong, like Terminator style, and they're like they need to put the cameras and the Flash will disable them and all that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, man, that's my favorite one too.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, I love that episode.
Damn it! I feel like.
Do you remember sort of the story of the episode, Tony?
I do actually. I kind of remember them. Everything was going wrong, right? Like in the actual land of land.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember some things that happened, but it's hard to remember right now.
Yeah. There's a
One
lot
thing
of
I remember is when Bart is stealing the cameras from the store. He's just like getting all of them, and he upon like I think there's some plates, or I don't really remember. Like right next to the other store, he's like, "Oh, mine as well," and just steals that too.
Nice. Yeah, and he says like "smashy, smashy" as he's breaking the windows.
Yeah,
that's funny. Okay.
I can't remember right now.
Ah, man, that's good. There's a lot of good episodes out there, though.
yeah. You don't have to choose one.
Most of my main questions, and like, I don't know, I haven't really been watching the episodes now just because I'm kind of disappointed in them. But The Simpsons used to be a really big thing.
Well, I wonder if. Well, I'm sure people have done this, but how would you feel about trying to go back through the catalog and just kind of rewatching all the episodes?
Oh, I have, sir. I own them on DVD, so yeah, I pop them in every now and then and rewatch them, even from the beginning. I guess I should try rewatching them all the way up to now. I guess that's something I haven't done. I could try that.
You know which episodes I really like? It's not one per se, but I can definitely remember the desire and the anticipation of waiting for the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. Oh, God, they're fantastic.
I love the one where it turns out that Bart has a twin brother, and he's like living upstairs or something, and it's
yes,
like the other Bart.
Hugo.
That was a really creepy episode.
But if that episode, it turns out that actually Bart was the evil twin, not Hugo.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That was a brilliant little twist.
Yeah. I love that one. I used to love the first one a lot, and then like the first episode, they have Lisa reading The Raven.
Yeah, I remember
the Edgar Allan Poe poem to Bart, and Bart's the Raven, and Homer is the guy. And then I just memorized that whole poem just because of that episode.
Yeah, that was such a good episode. I remember like Bart as the Craven is so funny. He's just like this little like bird. He's just kind of pissing off his dad. That was awesome. All right, guys. I think I've said as much as I can about Simpsons right now. Do you guys say something else?
I would like to say that maybe we will start a Simpsons cast. It'll be us three again, and maybe I'll tack in freaking Trey, Galaxoid, because he knows as much Simpsons as I do. He actually It's funny. I have a little anecdote. We used to record The Simpsons in my house. So it used to be my brother, Galaxoid. He used to freaking record every episode, like way back on VHS tapes. And then after he left to go into the Air Force, I started picking up VHS tapes and recording those episodes. So I kept it going.
passed on the
And-
mantle. Now you got to
Yeah.
keep it going. Just get yourself a VHS machine and pass it down to the little one and see what happens.
Oh man, we need to do a 90s cast where we talk about 90s inventions like VHS and stuff like that.
Great idea. I think that's said and done because I can already think of Game Boy Advance. I can think of those VHS.
Oh man,
I love modems.
There's
Yes,
so many
yes.
Togagachis or whatever they were called.
Floppy disks. Remember when video
Yes.
games were on floppy disks? Oh man.
Remember the memory cards on the original consoles?
Oh man.
Okay, we're getting into another tangent. We need
We're
to put this
getting it.
episode up.
All right. So yeah.
All right. Well,
This is the
thank you.
Simpsons cast.
yeah, exactly. Be prepared. Thank you guys for listening to Riffin with a couple 90 guys. Again, my name is Tony, and this is
Edgar.
and as to my virtual left, of course, remember is Peter.
Peter, yeah. Okay, I have our music to play us out on. So let's
Excellent.
do that. Give me
All
one
right,
second
going out with
here.
style.
Yes. All right. So yeah, definitely our next episode will be about 90s inventions.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a really good idea.
Yes, it does.
Definitely.
Have we did we do board games, like 90s board games?
You know what? We haven't touched upon that. That'd be a fun one.
That'd be a good one too. And
Yes.
if you're listening, if you have suggestions for us, just email like Zombies to Aliens or message us on Tumblr or anything if you have any 90s type
Yeah, check out our
themed
website.
episodes. Like that you want.
Zombies2aliens.net. Just check
Yes.
us out and drop us a comment, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, let us know if there's any topics you want us to cover on the 90s cast, because it's really fun talking about all this 90s stuff, I have to say.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys, and maybe one day we can feature one of you as a guest if you'd like to really have a passionate discussion about something 90s related.
Nice. All right, here's our music. Good night, guys. Well, not good night, but see you later, guys.
See you later.
Or, as Nelson would say, smell you later.
Yes.
Round one, fight!